Hello everyone and welcome to this Creative Europe Innovation Day. I think we all noticed, because we are all professionals or working in the sector of media, arts and culture, and we all noticed that new digital technologies have changed the way we actually create, distribute, perceive, of course, the art and culture, but also it's holding great promises to make it more interesting, more accessible, more diverse, possibly. At the same time, it gives a lot of challenges, because we all see the problem of creating and manipulating, and AI is entering the picture. So there is a lot happening at the crossing of media, art, culture, and the technologies enabling them for us to produce and consume. So the Creative Europe program is actually here to support the European audiovisual, cultural and creative sector, as we know. And there are different funding schemes which are set or new to encourage the creative players exactly at this crossing of media, art, technologies and culture, to encourage them to operate, but not only operate, but also cooperate across Europe to reach new audiences and develop the skills needed in the digital age. So today, it's a long introduction, but today, that's why we have the Creative Europe Innovation Day, to highlight the international use cases, to really grasp what's happening there. And we're going to have two main topics. First, reaching diverse audiences. And second, freedom of media and art. That's a big word, but we're going to really examine what does this mean. So we will have a series of projects supported by the Creative Europe program, and they will actually even go beyond to highlight these innovative technologies. We're going to see also their impact, the way they work, the way they want to reach out. And yes, that's what we're going to do today. So my name is AC Coppens. I forgot to present myself. My name is AC Coppens. I'm a market strategist, actually, a conference curator, a host, a moderator, and a speaker, as you can see. And I'm going to guide you through the program today. I work at the very intersection of creative content, like film, music, VR, AR, XR, etc., and technologies from neuroscience through AI. So that's why I'm here today. I've been invited to do it. Yes. So now, I mean, the program is marvelous. I have to make a personal note on this. I mean, I know it's the first time in my life, and I've been doing this job for a while. It's the first time in my life I know nearly every speaker in the lineup. They really picked the best speakers. I was in Cannes, I was in the EFM, I was everywhere. They have an eye on everything. They curated a program where they're like, whoa, respect. So, as said, flamboyant, great curating lineup. Let us start with Laura Olin, the COO of ZOAN, Metaverse, Helsinki Metaverse and beyond, I would say. Creativity, community, culture. Why should we care about the Metaverse? Laura, the stage is yours. I'm really interested to hear all this. Thank you.
Hi. Thanks, AC. Thanks, Suzanne and Leah, for inviting me here. Greetings from Helsinki. So, I think I was invited here to talk about Metaverse in a non-technical way. So I hope I can meet the expectations here. My own background is in marketing, in journalism, but I've been involved in this since 2016. Currently, I am running the ZOAN virtual studio. What ZOAN actually does is that we are creating different kind of virtual projects, helping companies, organizations, also museum, music stuff, things like that, in creating virtual experiences. And recently, Cornerstone.land has been our own Metaverse platform project that we aim to launch next year. And it's sort of a culmination of everything that we have been doing for the past 12 years, which is like combining high-quality graphics with the latest technology. But Cornerstone.land is not what I'm here actually to talk about. I'm talking about like a sort of bigger issues and why we should care about these virtual worlds at all. How many of you remember a movie called The Matrix? Well, yeah, I suppose more or less everyone knows that. So just a few weeks ago, I ran into this really nice clip of interview with Keanu Reeves for The Verge that sort of tells why it's so important to think about these issues. Let's see.
I was having dinner at a friend's house, this director, and he had some kids, and there was like a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, and they hadn't seen the film The Matrix. And so the director's like, well, why don't you just tell them what it's about? So I start to say, well, there's this guy who's in a kind of virtual world, and he finds out that there's a real world, and he's really questioning what's real and not real, and he really wants to know what's real. And the young girl was like, why? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, who cares if it's real? And I was like, what, you don't care if it's real? And she was like, no.
Isn't that wild?
It's awesome.
Yeah, like think about that. The teenager nowadays, they're really natively already in the metaverse. It's us who need to learn. And everything that we are actually creating is not just something we are creating for people of our own age, but really for the, thinking about the next 3, 5, 10 years. So that's what we are really talking about. All right. Then I said it's not technical, but I need to go through a few basic things so that everyone understand what is it that we are talking about when we are talking about the metaverse. Because currently it's like an umbrella of things, and basically anything can be put in there. But in short, we are talking about a 3D internet. And I think it's always really easy to start with what is familiar. And I think most of us remember back in the 90s when we started learning how to use email or how to use modem to get to, online, maybe download some stuff from there. That was sort of the first phase of the internet as it is today. Then the next layer is something where we have been living for maybe 15 years or so. We are all used to that people have smartphones, we have social media, we can watch videos or live streams wherever we go. Everything is more or less online, banking, really important stuff as well. And then we've also seen some of the downsides of that, a lot of trouble with privacy issues, maybe some corporates in the USA knowing a little bit too much of us, things like that. So, but the metaverse, that is really part of this Web 3, the next layer of the internet. And there is also something new up and coming. Of course, these 3D immersive worlds, they are the user experience part of that. But that's not all. In Web 3, we are also talking about more democratized, creative, community-based type of way of acting online. We are talking about digital autonomous organizations and NFTs, cryptocurrencies, stuff like that. That sounds, a little bit technical and difficult, but basically what it means is that we are also creating a new type of economy, which means that, if you are, as a creator, create a piece of art, for instance, you can actually, without any gatekeepers, sell it virtually, and if someone then sells it further, it can create income for you. So we are also talking about a new type of economy. So it's not only the 3D internet, there are other parts of that. And this was the technical part number 1, and then there is also another a little bit technical part, which is about the content of how to create these immersive 3D worlds. So basically, the big difference when it comes to what we are doing today, like thinking like filming videos or taking images or photos or so, is that in the metaverse we are talking about like a one 3D environment that can be a source for many, many type of experiences. Already now we have been working with, for instance, cities like Helsinki or Gothenburg in Sweden, where we are creating the 3D, some parts of the city in 3D. And for those parts, you can invite people to visit. They can use VR headsets, and I believe that in a couple of years, they will also look much nicer than they do today. Some of them can access via browser. And then you can use these environments also as production environments, for instance, for films. Like you probably seen that in many recent Hollywood films, if they are historical, if they take place in a fantasy land, the props aren't really there. They are all virtual. And then what it also means that once you've created the virtual world, why not invite the fans inside the virtual world and let them play? So this is part of this 3D immersive world. And also bringing out things like augmented reality. Everyone knows Pokemon, maybe videos, maybe some NFTs from the virtual world to the real world. So basically, it's all like one environment, and you can do a lot of things with that. That was the technical part. And then coming back to the point, why does it matter for the creative industries, is that it is a new platform for human interaction. And it's really the human interaction that is still the core of everything. Like people want to be entertained, they want to socialize, they want to leave their mark on something, they want to be a part of something bigger, as we've done this far. So now it's just this metaverse is like a new type of platform for all of this. And that's why it's really important that we have people with creative minds as a part of this metaverse development. Now I'm going to show just a few simple use cases. There would be so many more, but just as an example. This is probably familiar to many, like art and NFTs, they have been a big thing. This is this image is from an exhibition in Berlin by Refik Anadol last year. He works a lot with digital art, and this is one way of doing it, like bringing it out to a physical gallery for people to see. Maybe he, at some point, has also a virtual gallery where you can go inside and see them and buy them. But NFTs, so they are just a difficult name, but really they are a certificate of authenticity, meaning that you can prove that I own this piece of art. And the reason why they are popular is, of course, it gives creatives a chance to share work digitally and earn money with that. So a lot of good stuff. They are democratic, no gatekeepers. You can actually get paid for your creative work. But then again, of course, there are also a lot of controversies. Like there's been a lot of speculation, people buying a lot of crap with a lot of money. The cryptocurrencies, they are not so sustainable as they should be. Some people buying art and then they realize that they don't have rights to print it, so then they're like, where am I going to put this digital piece of work? So a lot of these kind of issues that have to do with working with a new medium. And I think that sometimes even NFTs for the wider audience have a little bit of bad reputation, maybe due to all this more controversial stuff that has been happening. But I'm showing one example. This is not our product, but it is from Finland, how NFTs can, for instance, be used for good purposes, like nature conservation. Basically, this project called SWAMP, I guess it's pronounced SWAMP, it's something that there's a non-profit that owns a lot of forest in northern Finland. And you can buy a plot of forest as an NFT. And the NFT actually is a photograph taken by this quite famous nature photographer called Konsta. And then when you buy it, you will get a guarantee that for that piece of forest, nobody will ever build anything. It will remain as it is. So I think that's also a really nice example of showing how you can actually do some great real-life stuff in a metaverse or with these NFTs to make the world a little bit better place. Okay, that was NFTs. Then I'm showing something a little different. This is more like music and film and stuff like that. It's a project that we have been working on since this spring. Notorious B.I.G., probably many of you know already, a famous rapper from Brooklyn, New York, that died already in the 90s, but he would have turned 50 years this year. So his family decided that they want to bring his legacy alive. And what we started creating with a couple of partner companies was a part of Brooklyn where he used to live and go. We've scanned them and we've recreated them as they were in the 90s. And we've shot like the first video there featuring a virtual Notorious B.I.G. that was basically done with a motion capture suit, which I believe that you will see later today, and then some animations. And in the future, this will be a metaverse where people can come and visit and be a part of that, inspiration that was there for Notorious Big back in the 90s. So I'm just showing a little clip of this video. Yeah, so all of that is computer made. It's sometimes really amazing what kind of stuff you can do with, with computers. So, a few examples, but coming back to why all this matters. Of course, you can do great things and you can, save money by doing things digitally and so on. But I think that there is also like a bigger, more philosophical issue to this. Decentraland is one of the oldest metaverse projects coming already since 2015. And I think that their creatives said it quite nicely that there's a lot of like that kind of thinking in the metaverse and Web3 world that what we've done with Web2 hasn't really gone right in all aspects. It's basically a lot of big companies that own us. Like if you create whatever you create on Facebook, for instance, not to mention any name, but really like it's owned by Facebook. It's not owned by you. And one thing with the Web3 and the metaverse is that is something that we would like to change. Also, how we feel with Cornerstone.land is that we want to create those kind of good, safe spaces that are also sustainable for people, so that if we have like kids who go online, they don't have to be afraid that they will end up in some sort of like a strip show or whatever. So we need to have these good things, and that's why we need to have like also thinking that is not based on making big wins fast in the metaverse world, but rather like thinking with a longer term what we want to achieve. And also, it's important to understand that the behavior that our kids will more or less be something that they learn in these virtual worlds and then do stuff in the real world rather than the other way around. So that's why it's also important to think that these virtual worlds have good content. Also, another interesting topic that we are working on is with our Economic Space Agency, that is our partner with Cornerstone, and they are promoting this idea that thanks to the development with blockchains and so, in the future, the concept of value doesn't necessarily have to depend on money. And I think that's quite groundbreaking. If we can have a ledger, if we can have a way to measure, for instance, sustainability or creativity without having to convert it into euros, I think that can have like a really big impact on our society. I think that it's a really fascinating idea. But in the end, yeah, the life in the metaverse will be as real as the life in the real world, like Keanu Reeves said in the beginning, so that is really the case. And that is why it's important that we all understand some basic stuff about it. And then coming to the practical part. So, I want to understand more about Metaverse. What should I do? Well, I recommend go to a Metaverse. For instance, Decentraland, or check out if you have kids who are playing Minecraft or Fortnite or whatever. That's really that they are already there. Or join Discord for some interesting projects. Read. There are many good books about the Metaverse. And if you are a creator yourself, start thinking, how could you start utilizing these 3D worlds? For instance, Unreal Engine, that's free to download and start using. Or should you make a 3D pilot, use maybe some virtual environments in your movie, something like that. And then most importantly also, like you won't be in the Metaverse just like telling others, like this is what I've done, but really as a part of the community, like who are your community? What keeps them coming back to you and your creations, and what are you talking about? And how can you encourage the community to create something fantastic? I think that is really important. So yeah, I guess that's really my final point here, is that once again, the technology is here to enable people to create, but content will still be the biggest thing in the metaverse as well. That's all I have to say now. So thank you very much.